today we're going to talk about what happens when the government takes your land. Eminent domain explained. So what we're going to do is that we're going to look at an actual case from Texas, and we're just going to walk through that and see what it looks like when the government takes your land. All right, so this is the case that we're talking about. It was filed May 15th, 2025 in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Texas. So here is the plaintiff. The plaintiff is the U.S. And then here are the defendants. So they're just going to name some acres of land, and they say et al., which is pretty much any of the other defendants. So let's take a look at the complaint itself. So this is a civil action brought by the U.S. at the request of the couple of the U.S. entities that are named here, mainly the Homeland Security, Acquisition Program Manager, the U.S. Border Patrol. The reason is for the taking of property under the power of eminent domain through a declaration of taking, and for the determination of, well, they say just compensation. I'll say compensation to the owners and parties in interest. And they're saying the court has subject matter jurisdiction over this pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1358. And then they say the interest in property taken is according to the authority set forth in Schedule A. And we'll look at the different schedules that's mentioned here. And they say that it's for a public purpose for which the property is taken. It's described in Schedule B. And there's a legal description of the map or the plat of the land that described in Schedule C and D. And we're going to look at the compensation that they're offering for the property in Schedule F. And then there's a couple land trusts that are, and there's not just one owner, but in Schedule G. So okay, so let's just take a look at the different schedules. So here is the Schedule A. So they're saying that what is the authority for them to take this property? So they're saying that it's under 40 U.S.C. 3113 and 3114, which authorize the condemnation of land, a filing of a declaration of taking. When you look at these complaints over time, the government seems to almost always win these types of cases where they offer compensation. And I think it looks like the only thing you can pretty much fight on is a compensation. It looks like regardless, and most of them, at least that I looked at, just my feeling is that they end up winning. Okay, so then the Schedule B is at the public purpose. So what is the public purpose is to construct, install, operate, and maintain a border barrier. So basically, most likely a border wall is what they're referring to. Border barrier. Schedule C. Here's a legal description for the property and where it's located. And then here are the owners. And then they're talking about, we're not going to go through the legal description. Let's just go through the next schedule and see what we find. So Schedule C with legal description is pretty big. All right, let's Schedule D. So here's the map or the plat, the land to be condemned. When you look at it looks like this is the acquisition area, just based on what the surveyor had put in. So it did look like they did do a survey, and let's just take a look. So here's another survey that was done. More survey of the land. I think there is quite a bit of survey material that's in here. And let's take a look at the Schedule E. Well, this is under tract of land. Let's take a look at the next schedule to see what they're really offering. Schedule E. So here is the estate taken, actually. So they're saying that the estate taken is a fee simple, subject to existing easements for public roads, highways, public utilities, railroads, pipelines, and the reserving the owners of the land identified in the deed reasonable access to and from the owner's land. Okay, but I think what I'm really more interested in to see what they're offering. Here's the estimate of just compensation. Again, it's an estimate, right? And they're saying it's just. Who decides what is just or not, right? So it's just, they're saying just compensation based on comparables. What are they really basing on? What does the underlying data look like? So they're saying that there is the for the land being taken is $221,564 is what they're saying is just compensation. And when you look at the land itself, and you divide it by the number of acres, I think it was, when I remember correctly, if I'm reading, I could be wrong, but I think it came out like 24 acres or something like that. So again, when I looked at it, it came out about $9,334 per acre. Well, is that really the right compensation? What if, not just the land itself, what if they were raising cattle there? What if they were growing crops? Or, what if there were other things where they wanted to pass on this property to their children or, heirs or anything like that? I mean, I'm not sure if those are considered in this calculation of just compensation. I mean, here it looks like they're just saying, hey, here's maybe the comparables, and then here's what we're willing to pay. It's about $9,334 an acre. Maybe it is what is it's going for there. Maybe it's more, maybe less. I don't know the comparables. But again, the government seems to always win these types of cases anyway. So here's the other land they were offering. That is, I believe this is the other parcel number. I think just based on that, it came at about $3,680 an acre. Yeah, so this is what, it looks like if you have a piece of land that the government wants, and you want to fight over it, you most likely you're going to lose the case anyway, because they are going to take it, but you probably can get a little more money out of it if you're able to prove that the land is worth more than what they're offering. All right. Thank you for listening. By the way, if you like this, give me a like, subscribe, and join me for another episode. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.